I know it won't be easy for me, but think about how hard it is for them. I could never have done this at your age. It's really cool that you're doing this." No, it's not cool. I mean, hospice is an alternative to the medical establishment. Everyone loved him as Simba in The Lion King and Randy on Home Improvement. But Jonathan Taylor Thomas quit Hollywood in 1998 and never came back. Why was he having terrible headaches and panic attacks while filming? Randy, the spoiled middle son on the hit TV show Home Improvement, is now in a new movie called Wild America. Here's Jonathan Taylor. Now, 25 years later, we finally know why America's favorite teen star chose to disappear. Jonathan Taylor Thomas was born Jonathan Taylor Weiss on September 8, 1981, in Bethlehem. His parents, Claudine Gonalves and Stephen Weiss, had no idea that their son would become one of the biggest teen stars of all time. In the 1990s, when he started acting, he changed his name. He kept his first and middle names but added Thomas, which was his brother's middle name. It wasn't just a stage name. It was a mix of his personal and professional identity that helped him stand out in Hollywood. His early years were full of change. When he was 4, his family moved from Pennsylvania to Sacramento and then to Los Angeles a few years later. Each move brought him closer to his family. As a child, he may have learned to be flexible, which helped him later in life. When he was 4, he did something most kids wouldn't even think about. He became a vegetarian. He wasn't doing it to fit in or be like other kids. He did it because he believed in animal rights. That belief only grew stronger over time. He refused to use products tested on animals and stayed committed to making moral choices despite the pressures of Hollywood. His awareness of social issues, his mother worked with poor adults and often took him to work events where he saw things that most kids his age didn't. He learned about responsibility, gratitude, and making choices that mattered. His vegetarianism wasn't just about food, it was about living in a way that fit his value. In the 1990s, young stars rarely talked about things like ethical consumerism. Thomas didn't just talk about it, he lived it. Fans admired him for it. He wasn't just a teen idol, he was a person with beliefs. In 1991, his life changed again when his parents divorced when he was 10 years old. He moved to Los Angeles with his mother and older brother. It was a hard change, but it opened up new opportunities. His career was already taking off, and being in Hollywood helped him keep that momentum, even though his parents were going through a hard time. Thomas had a strong support system. His mother managed his career and kept him grounded. But another uncle, Jeff Weiss, a famous playwright and actor, was a big part of Thomas's life. He wasn't just a family member, he was a mentor who helped him see acting as more than just reading lines. He taught him about storytelling and the craft behind the performances people saw on screen. Having a family member in the business gave Thomas something that many child actors didn't have. Someone who understood the business and could help him through it. His uncle's influence may have been the reason Thomas gave his roles more depth than most kids his age, even in comedies. He wasn't just playing a part, he brought something extra to it. Jonathan Taylor Thomas started modeling for print ads in Sacramento, California when he was 7. This led to TV commercials where his confidence and natural charm made him stand out. He wasn't just another kid selling cereal. He had something special that people saw. One of his first big commercials was in 1988, he was cast in a commercial for Kellogg's Product 19 with Thora Birch. 2 years later, he was cast in an ad for Burger King with Thora Birch. He also did ads for Vivid Gum and Canon camcorders. Each commercial gave him more experience, more time in front of the camera, and more chances to learn how the business worked. By the age of 8, he had already built a strong base. In 1990, he got his first real TV role as Kevin in The Bradys, a spin-off of The Brady Bunch. It seemed like a promising project. You know how the middle child always ends up being the funny one. Bringing back familiar characters from the original show got him a lot of attention, but something didn't work. The show only lasted 6 episodes before it was canceled. It wasn't the big break he was hoping for, but it was still a big step forward. At the time, he was known as Jonathan Weiss, which is his birth name, and he worked with TV veterans like Robert Reed and Florence Henderson, learning skills that would help him later. The show may have been short-lived, but it was a great experience that gave him a look into early experience in TV led to something much bigger when he tried out for and got the part of Randy Taylor on Home Improvement in 1991. The show became a huge hit, running for 8 seasons and making him one of the most recognizable young stars of the decade. His resemblance to Tim Allen helped him get the part, but it was his quick wit and natural delivery that made him a fan favorite. The show ran from 1991 to 1999, and Thomas was in 177 episodes. Fans loved his character. Randy wasn't just another sitcom kid. He questioned things and didn't agree with his father's old-fashioned ideas. "Hey everyone, this is my new boss. My name is John Baker. Hi, my name is Vanessa. Hi, my name is Mike Baxter. Hey man, you look familiar." He had a sharp mind and a strong sense of right and wrong, which made him stand out and make him one of the most memorable characters on the show, even when he was only 10 years old. He was serious about his work. He juggled school and work. At the height of his fame, Jonathan Taylor Thomas wasn't just an actor, he was a phenomenon. Magazines like Tiger Beat and Bop put him on their covers every month. Fans gave him the nickname JTT, and his messy blonde hair and blue eyes made him one of the biggest teen idols of the decade. But it wasn't just about looks, he was smart and thoughtful. In interviews, he talked about staying grounded and using his fame for good. He didn't just want attention, he wanted to send the right message. His career went beyond Home Improvement. He was in family-friendly movies like Man of the House, Tom and Huck, and I'll Be Home for Christmas. These roles made him even more popular, but they also had a cost. By the late 1996, he was tired of being in the spotlight all the time. He didn't like being called JT, and he didn't like it when interviewers asked about his personal life. The pressure of being a teen idol started to get to him. Keeping up with school and Hollywood wasn't easy. He had to work long hours and deal with a lot of stress, which started to affect his health. He started getting severe migraines and sometimes filmed whole episodes while sick. In an interview in 1994, he said, "I can't tell you how many shows I've done with full-blown migraine headaches." He kept going and stayed professional, but it was getting harder. In 1998, he quit Home Improvement, even though he was only 17 years old at the time. After working non-stop for almost a decade, he wanted a break and a normal life. Some cast members weren't happy about his departure and fans were shocked, but Thomas knew it was the right thing to do. Later he said, "If I had stayed at the show and tried to do academically what I'm doing now, I would have put myself in an early grave." Jonathan Taylor Thomas was only 12 years old when he became the voice of young Simba in Disney's The Lion King. He has played Randy on Home Improvement for 6 seasons. Starting July 2, you can see him in the new movie Wild America. Let's go back to when he was known for playing Randy Taylor on Home Improvement. This role, however, took his career to a whole new level. The movie was a huge hit, making almost $1 billion and giving Thomas 2 Academy Awards. It was more than just a job. It was a chance to bring one of Disney's most beloved characters to life. After casting dozens of child actors, Thomas stood out because he had a natural confidence that made Simba feel real, not like another cartoon character. His voice had just the right amount of innocence and personality, making him the perfect choice. Recording the lines took over a year because Thomas was busy with Home Improvement and Disney had to work around his schedule. Some of his lines were even recorded on the set of the show where he often worked. To make it feel more natural, he sometimes acted out the other characters' lines himself. This helped him react in a way that felt real. His expressions and mannerisms were also recorded so that animators could use parts of his personality in Simba. His signature smirk became one of Simba's most recognizable traits. Thomas connected with Simba in ways that made the performance even stronger. Like his Home Improvement character, Simba was brave and smart. Thomas was so comfortable and independent that it helped him sound natural in every scene. His voice made Simba's joy, fear, and sadness feel real. especially when he finds Mufasa after the stampede. Even though the movie was animated, Thomas gave it an emotional depth that made it unforgettable. The Lion King wasn't just a hit movie, it became a cultural phenomenon. The soundtrack sold millions of copies, and the story about identity and responsibility still speaks to people all over the world. Thomas's voice was a big part of how people saw Simba. It made the character seem real and relatable. After The Lion King, Thomas kept working as a voice actor. In 1996, he played Pinocchio in The Adventures of Pinocchio, a live-action and animated movie that took a new approach to the classic story. His voice captured the wonder and determination of a wooden puppet who wants to become a real boy. It showed that he wasn't just a child star, he had a real talent for bringing characters to life. He also had smaller roles in animation. For example, he played Tyler Tucker in The Wild Thornberrys, a show about a family that traveled the world studying wildlife, and he voiced a character named Luke Stetson in a guest appearance on The Simpsons. Even in these small roles, his voice had a charm that made each character stand out. He later voiced Prince Regis in the sci-fi adventure Through the Moyas strip and played Tangy, a teddy bear looking for a home in the Tangerine Bear Each. Jonathan Taylor Thomas wasn't just the kid from Home Improvement in the 1990s. He was in some of the biggest family movies of the decade, playing characters full of energy, humor. Each role gave him a chance to do something different, but he always made the story feel fun. In 1995, he starred in Man of the House as Ben Archer, a kid who was having a hard time accepting his chase, played the man trying to win him over, but Ben wasn't having it at first. He did everything he could to keep him away, including pulling pranks and tricks on him. But when they had to work together to stay safe, everything changed. The movie wasn't just a comedy. It had action, family drama, and a lesson about learning to accept change. Thomas was funny, sharp, and confident, and he held his own next to Chevy Chase, who was known for his quick-witted humor. The movie itself got mixed reviews. That same year, Thomas played a completely different role in Tom and Huck. He was Tom Sawyer, the famous troublemaker from Mark Twain's classic story. He wasn't just getting into mischief for fun. When he and Huck Finn stumbled into a murder mystery, things quickly got serious. They were on the run, keeping secrets and trying to stay one step ahead of danger. It was an adventure movie with action and suspense, but it never lost the playful spirit of the book. Original story, Thomas was perfect as Tom. He had the right amount of charm and bravery, which made it easy to believe that he was the type of kid who could talk his way out of anything. I haven't had much time for that lately, you know. I went straight to school and studied hard for finals. By the way, what grade did you get? I just finished my freshman year, which I'm very happy about because I get to go back next year. That was in 1997. In Wild America, a movie based on a true story, Thomas played Marshall Stour, the youngest of three brothers who set out on a cross-country journey to film wildlife. The movie was about adventure and chasing big dreams, and instead of city streets or small-town neighborhoods, it took place in forests, rivers, and mountains with real animals, which made every scene feel more exciting. Thomas wasn't playing the usual sarcastic kid this time. Instead, his character was driven, determined, and ready to prove himself. From his previous roles, but he made it work. Then came I'll Be Home for Christmas in 1998. Thomas played Jake Wilkinson, a self-centered college student. When his dad gave him a classic porn show as a Christmas gift, Jake was ready to take full advantage of it. But before he could get home, he got lost in the desert in a Santa suit with no money and no way to get back. The only way to fix things was to change his attitude. The movie was full of funny, over-the-top situations. His work on Last Man Standing showed that he was interested in directing as well as acting. His desire to become a director didn't come out of the blue. Even while working on Home Improvement, he watched directors at work. While other young actors were practicing their lines, Thomas was paying attention to camera angles, scene setups, and how the show came together. In an interview, he said that being on set was like free film school. He knew early on that he didn't just want to be an actor. Directed a few episodes might not seem like a big deal for someone who had been away from Hollywood for years, But it was a big step for him because it gave him a chance to work with others in a different way, by shaping a story from behind the camera instead of in front of it. Even with these small returns to acting, Thomas has stayed out of the spotlight. In June 2021, he was seen walking his dogs in Hollywood, which was one of the first times he had been photographed in years. Unlike many former child stars, he never tried to hold on to fame. He left Hollywood because he wanted a life outside of Hollywood. No social media, no red carpets, just a life. That doesn't mean he lost interest in telling stories. Over the years, he has talked about his love for writing and directing. He still follows theater and film. He just likes to enjoy it without the pressure of being in front of the camera. Even though he left Hollywood, his impact never went away. His role in Home Improvement made him famous, and his voice in The Lion King became a part of movie history. He was the face of a whole generation in the 1990s, but his most important contribution wasn't a part he played. It was a choice he made. Leaving fame is hard, but doing it on your own terms is even harder, and that might be what makes him more unforgettable than ever.